Alrighty here. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Just to give everybody a little bit of a background here. We're going to be doing the PLF 1 and 2. That's why it says the X after the name, the title. As you know, I'm sure at least you guys can recognize, this is Ryan Santelli. Basically what we are going to be discussing is the PLF in general and how it will be used and what it differs to what we already have. Yes, this is a high-tech product, and we are going to sell it just like we do a Schroeder product. The advantages of it's much better than a bag, and I could say cartridge filter in theory, but it is a cartridge filter. It's just a very high performance, high quality cartridge filter is the best way to sum up the PLF. So the Bodyguard for high requirements, PLFx. Product description is a single workstation for the PLF1, and the PLF2 is a multi-workstation. So in layman's terms, the PLF1 you're dealing with one, maybe two elements. The PLF2 you're going to have multiple elements. PLF2 would be more for your very narrow filtration, 1 to 5 micron, heavy flows, larger flanges. And as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see our side-mounted filter. That would be the PLF2. In the filter technology, there's different options you have. You have a 9-inch high flow, which is your protective filtration. You have your 6-inch high flow, which is your work filtration, your heavier loads. And then you have the 9-inch high-low Cascade, which is your complex operating filtration, contamination loads, and contamination episodes, meaning an influx. If you're coming with a large flow coming in with dirt, contaminants, or every once in a while you get some hydraulic fluid, some gummy stuff in there, you would want to go for the high-low Cascade element in that case. The function of the PLF is that the biggest selling point to this is if you can see the picture on the far right, you have a center tube. That center tube is for basically high protection over cross-contamination during changeouts. Something that you don't have that protection when you're changing cartridge elements and bag housings. And you can be careful when changing cartridge and bag elements to the best you can, but you're going to have that issue of possible cross-contamination. And that's where the biggest selling point of this PLF comes in a standard. Right now, the ones that where the PLFs do exist in the U.S. are car manufacturers, high chemical process plants, and high treatment plants that are usually protecting very expensive equipment, much like the RF3 does too. This can be used for hydraulic, diesel, water, but it's a process application. That being said, you can see how the cartridge actually fits over the tubing and that how it looks like a cartridge filter, because it is. It actually, for you guys that are familiar with it, almost is similar to the size and width of a wombat. Functionality is different, but it is, in this case, like most things with high-tech, is outside to inside flow. So this is your 10-bar standard. It's your banjo clamp, C-clamp. It's got a number of different names for it. In this case, this is for a single or for a multiple. And this is basically what you're going to be doing for your 10-bar standard. We get into a max for 16 bars. So you have multiple bolts, which then turns into time that your employee is going to be doing to loosening every bolt to change the elements. That's something in a cartridge world is why you can sell cartridge housings. In this case, we are actually working around that. So what can we offer is a simple shortening of a simplified handling, or a clip coupling is what they're going to be calling this. So it's only 2 bolts versus 8, 10, 12, depending on the size, of course. And it holds the same amount. It can go up to 16 bar. And this is really the selling point that high-tech is pushing for this housing. You have a clamp coupling versus a flange connection, and they're saying 70% time savings. Because no matter what, when you're selling cartridges, bag housings, you're going against time. How much time you have your employees going down to change the elements, how many elements they're changing. So constantly when they're looking forward to this, they're looking forward to how they're going to save time and extend the life of their filtration possibilities. Another big win towards this is that there are no welded internal parts. They're all screwed in, so therefore it's quick, easy, cheap replacements once they are installed. Again, as you can see in the picture on the far right, you have a internal basket, again, outside to inside flow, so to prevent cross-contamination when changing the elements. Again, this was a huge selling point when going to the automotive industry. For the larger versions, for the high flows, the high loads, again, that 996, those are elements. Those are not your housings, of course. As you can see, kind of the internal view on the lower pictures, the way the elements actually sit inside the housings, these are 3 stacked when they're horizontal. We will be presenting a video at the end of this month for the PLF that actually shows removing and changing the elements at ease. They're very light and dirty. They're loaded with dirt and contaminant. The elements are very light, so it's not hard. And a customer can look at this and say, well, look how huge those are versus us. We have to make sure we have someone qualified and have to have a lifting device for lid. As you can see, it has a lifting davit already built into the housing, similar to our RF7 filter. So they really went around and they thought about every single complaint that they could possibly have and why. Different types of filters. So what you guys are probably very used to in the cartridge world would be the 9-inch Spunspray. That is a terminology for melt-blown Spunspray. It is polypropylene. The filter fineness is 5 to 20 micron. They go actually down to 1 micron. The efficiency is a lot better at 5 micron. A lot of times 5 micron is actually a higher efficiency and can do better removal than a 1 micron can. It's all but dependent on how well your product spreads and absorbs material, the fluid. It's a number of issues, but that's the case, again, just like we do with RF3s, where I would need a water sample so we can work forward on that. So the best way of describing this is, yes, we have an option against melt blown, and the housing is fitted as well. It's the same size and length if you're going for the vertical versus the horizontal. Again, how are you going to go through the seals? There's the construction of the elements. They're basically designed to prove that we can compete with a non-contamination crossover. Exact guidance of a filter tube on a support tube, as you can see. No shearing off of the O-rings as they fit and they almost click right into each other. And therefore you know it's that clean sit. There's no clamping of the filter elements and simpling. So on a normal cartridge element, such as a melt blown or a spun blown or anything of that form, you actually have to have a rod that goes through the center of the tube and a clamp to hold it down to prevent blowout or movement of the filters during high pressure flows and whatnot. In this case, you're going to pop each one on top and then you're going to have a clamp on the top that is a quick 1-2 turn. It's not your time consuming filter change as usual. Again, the main combat that you're using to go against other traditional filtration needs with cartridge and bag housings. Here's the media again, of course. You've got the outer sleeve, you've got the filter media inside, the O-ring cap, and the end cap. You have your drainage plants on the inside and out on both sides, and then you have protective fleece following the drainage plant on both sides. You have your main filtration in the dead center. Now your pre-filter is on the outside, and that can also be on the diesel world as your coalescing filter prior to the main filter. Flow direction, again, as you can see, is going through each stage over and over again, and it's repeated twice on both sides along with the main filter in the center. For the high flow filter, again, it's the pleat pack that's really your main fight here. You're optimized for protective filtration, extreme fold stability through parallel folding at large filter element circumferences and high volumetric flows. Multi-layer filter mat construction. You've got your robust and high quality layered structure, your high contamination retention, your slight pressure loss. Then you have your stage graduated depth filtration, your high purity and single pass, your high layers of thickness and storage volume, and go on. Now, the high cascade is you're going to have a combination of a parallel folding outside and inside of the M fold. So your main filter level is actually going to be 2 pleat packs of parallel folding. Your multi-layer filter mat construction is what follows after that. But again, you have that main filter stage that's almost doubled up. So you can't call it absolute just because it's to a certain code, but it is very close to, if not similar to, an absolute, and you have that double protection. I would again offer the high-low cascade for your very, very dirty applications. The PLF1 versus conventional bag filter, again going against is outside to inside, and your bag filter is inside to outside. Your housing can be completely emptied, meaning you can drain out the whole housing while you change for that ultimate protection. It's not possible for fluid to remain in the filter element when you change. It comes in and out. Now, we all know changing bag elements, you're going to get whatever fluid's kind of soaked. It's a sponge. It's going to soak and hold, and as you pull, it's going to drip, get on the floor. Dealing with oils, hydraulic fluids, that's a big no-no for OSHA, MSHA in the mining world. When the filter element is removed from the housing, it may still be at the maximum dripping wet, and it still won't have nearly as much fluid dropping on the floor. In summary, reduction of costs not only in procurement, multiple phases actually, I believe. Saving energy costs by reducing pressure loss is the huge item here with the PLF. Qualitative high-end filtration leads to improved quality of the operating medium, positive effect on efficiency and economic efficiency of downstream processes. So it's just multiple items. The biggest thing I can tell you here is that you have less time of changing elements, you have more filter space, and less filters. So you are more than welcome to contact me post this. This is the best form of cartridge and bag filter you could ever have. Because why? It's been designed to prove, or basically better and enhance, what a cartridge system is and what a bag system is. Alrighty, everybody have a good weekend. Take care.
Whether it's a helpful how-to or a new product release, Schroeder Industries is your place for fluid filtration. Subscribe below.